Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome to the webinar. I'm Chris. I'm here on behalf of me and Off to Class. Can everyone hear me? Can you see me? Can you just type a yes? Yes. Awesome. Great. Perfect. And I'm loud and clear. Okay, good. Somebody's saying no sound. Other people are saying sound. So I think that means we're probably good. So we're going to jump right in. Where are you listening from? Okay, where are you watching this from? Where in the world are you? I'm in Florida, in the United States. Okay, let's see. Oh, wow, they're going fast. Julian de Los Santos, Philippines. Maria from Italy. Anita from UAE. Matt from Madrid. Tony from Virginia. Margarita, south of France. Elizabeth from Moscow. Kate is also in the south of France. Janet from Minneapolis. Bethany from Massachusetts. Okay, great. We've got people represented from all over the world. Tash from Ukraine. Fantastic. Okay. Well, I'm so excited to be here with you guys. What we're going to do is we're going to go for about, I would say, 45 minutes or so. And I really want you to get the most out of this. So I'm just going to kind of say the standard thing about clearing your distractions. If you're checking email or the tabs, close all that out because I want you to get the most out of it and you're going to get a lot out of it. If you have questions for me about things as I go through, we will have time for Q&A at the end. So what I would like you to do is if you look, I think probably down here, there's an option to submit a question. So if you type something over here in the chat, you can type like if it's a quick question that you just need a clarification on. Chris from Off to Class is here. Chris is in the chat. He will be doing his best to answer some questions. If I see something there, I will try to respond to it. But if you have something that maybe you want me to spend a little more time on, then go ahead and submit it as an audience question below, and then I'll be able to address that at the end, okay? So I want to be really respectful of your time. I want to make sure that I make this worth it for you because I appreciate you being here, and I want to teach you a lot of really high value stuff as an online language teacher. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to get started. So what I'm going to do is I am going to now share my screen. So let me start that. So this is going to take just one moment. Okay. So now this has me and the text. Is that text? Can you see that text? Or should I leave? Anita says yes. Okay, yes. All right, fine. Good. So if it works with my face and the text, as long as you can read it, let's go, because I want to make sure, yeah, all right, we're just going to go with this. If people start telling me that they can't see, then my face can dip off and I can come back later. No worries. I know sometimes it's nice to be able to see the person who's speaking. I always have my camera on when I'm teaching lessons, so I understand that. Okay, so we're going to get started. How to establish trust with your ESL students. Okay, great. So right away, you are in the right place. So we want to make sure this is for you. So you are in the right place if you are an online language teacher and you're hungry for more students. You're in the right place if you feel frustrated because nobody is signing up for your free trial lessons. You're in the right place if you can't figure out why people book free trials and then they don't come. I have had so many teachers tell me that this happens to them where they have a free trial session and the student will book it and then the student ends up not coming. Okay, so that's a super common thing we're going to talk about. And you're in the right place if you don't want to spend a ton of time planning lessons and figuring out which tools to use. So I'm here to make this easier for you. There's a lot of things that you need to think about when you're transitioning to becoming an online teacher. There's a lot of things that are different from regular classroom or face-to-face. So I'm going to share some things that are going to make this as easy as possible. And if you stay to the very end, we're going to give you this trial lesson cheat sheet. So this is something that we're going to be talking about today, but we're going to do it fast. We're going to go over a lot. So it's going to be hard to take notes on everything. So we're going to give you kind of this condensed form that will have all the information if you stick around to the end. So Now that we've got all that out of the way, I want to introduce myself. I'm Chris. I am a full-time online English teacher. Bethany says need full screen to see slides. Okay, you know what? That's fine. I'm actually going to make the slides big because the text is getting small. So that way people won't have to worry about it. And then I'll come back a little bit later so that you can see my face again. Yeah, Beth, someone else is saying better. Yeah, I agree. I think this is probably the way to go. So I'm a teacher trainer and I have a full schedule of students. So this is all I do. I teach in business English online, okay? That's a little bit about me. One thing I want to tell you is that this is a different kind of webinar. So I know probably if you've ever been to webinars where people they get on there and they tell you about some magic system that changed their life, and then if you don't buy their product for, you know, $5,000, then everything is going to be miserable. I don't know if you've ever been to a webinar like that. If you can mention it in the chat. But we're not going to do that today. Okay, today we're doing a webinar that's going to be all really good education stuff. And so we're just here to give this to you. Okay, so I'm not here to sell you things. I'm here just to make this as valuable as possible for you, so that you can be better in your teaching stuff. Yeah, so I'm not going to sell you anything at the end. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to attract students to your trial lesson. I'm going to teach you how to make sure that students show up once they book them. I'm going to talk about the technology to use to wow them during a trial lesson. And I'm going to talk about how to turn trial lessons into paying students. So it's already 7 minutes in. I said we were going to go about 45 minutes. So I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm not going to kind of hold back the secret ingredient. I'm going to show you everything. So in order to show you everything, we're going to go really fast. So I want to make sure that you take notes. We have a lot to cover. Like I said, this is not the time to be like on your phone. Make sure you're really paying attention because we've got a lot of really good stuff. So just to kind of set the stage a little bit, people are teaching online in record numbers. Most are excited and ready to make a difference and announce their presence to the world. This was me when I started. But what happens? The world doesn't notice. And when you do get a trial lesson, they don't show up, or they don't buy lessons. Has anyone had this issue? You think you're going to change the world, you're really excited to teach online, you make yourself maybe a teacher website, and then nothing happens. You get no visits. Lewis says yes, right. Okay, a lot of people saying this has happened to them. I remember the day that I published my website, I was so excited, and it was like I heard crickets on the internet. Okay, nothing happened. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Kate says that you've been super lucky. That's awesome. Good for you, Kate. Yeah, good. And if you have anything you want to share with the group about that, definitely let us know in the chat. So I became an English teacher, online English teacher, in September 2012. I found this is a page from my original website. It's not it's not pretty. It's ugly. The corner is cut off my image. I used the name New York Times without asking for permission. So I put up this thing to say, okay, improve your listening, take our free business English course. I put this up on the internet, got me 0 students. Nobody was interested in this, nobody cared. Okay? So I knew that just making a website, doing what I thought I should do, wasn't working. So I started trying different things. I started targeting companies to teach their employees. And the company, when that would happen, they would pay for 50 lessons up front. And that was so exciting and great for me. But it was really inconsistent. It was hard to get companies to agree to pay for 50 lessons. So I started learning about internet marketing. So what I'm going to do, so these are the people that I followed. And you can Google these people, find their websites, read their books. I really recommend all of them. All of these people on this list are really helpful. They share a lot of really important stuff. But what I'm going to Hey, yeah, the sound was gone, but it's back now. Type yes in the chat box if you can hear me again. Yes, okay, good, right. I had a little cutout in my audio there. I'm going to see if I can. Okay, awesome, good. So I know people are paying attention. So what I'm going to kind of do is condense the best advice from these people and apply it specifically to being an online teacher, okay? So what I'm going to share with you is not anything secret. I'm not sharing with you some kind of special secret knowledge that only I have. But what I'm sharing with you is stuff that comes from taking the best of what exists about internet marketing and condensing it into everything that you need to become a successful online English teacher. All right, so I spent 18 months reading, going to webinars and reading. Did I mention that I read a lot of things? I went to webinars every day. I started applying it to teaching online. I joined italki, so I teach on italki. Connection is poor. Can people hear me? What's going on here? Can you hear me well? Poorly. Okay, hang on, so. Sound is a bit poor. Sound was better in the beginning. Oh, all right. I wonder if something happened. It's fine, I can bear with an echo, but we don't want that. So we're gonna see, I'm gonna try to troubleshoot this and see if I can solve the problem really quickly. So we definitely don't want echoes. I'm not into echoes. Voice is distant and garbled. Okay, hang on 1 second for me, guys. Thanks for telling me. Okay, so I might dip out for 1 second as I try something different. Oh, someone's saying better. Is it better now? It's just fine. Okay. Okay, fine. All right, people can hear me fine. We're gonna go with no. Hey, can you turn on yours? Oh, no. Yours works better than mine. Okay, that's fine. If we get another interruption, then we're gonna see if we can fix something. All right, good. So I joined italki, and when I joined italki, after learning all of this stuff, it was like boom, it was like dynamite. All of the knowledge that I had gained, I joined italki, and in less than 6 months, I was able to raise my prices 3 times. I got recognized by italki.com. They promoted me to their teachers. I filled my schedule so much that I was burned out, and I satisfied my students to retain them for months and months. And now I teach as many hours as I want. I have a full schedule. I have lifestyle freedom. So I'm going to show you the most important things that got me from starting from 0 to here. I'm not going to hold anything back, okay? So this is about applying principles. And now here are my principles for building trust. So we've been on for about 13 minutes. This is where we're going to start getting to the really super good stuff. I wanted to make sure that everyone is with me on the same page, where we're coming from, what our situation is. Now we're going to start getting to it. So number 1, how to attract students to your trial lesson. Okay, so what most people do is they say, okay, well, if I want to get online students, I'll offer a free trial lesson so that people can meet me before they decide, hey, sounds good, right? I mean, is this something, who's tried this? Go ahead and type in the chat box if you've tried doing like a free trial lesson. Me, okay, Danella has, yes. There's Super Prof. I don't know what Super Prof is. Kate, okay, but that's interesting. Not yet, Elizabeth, I get it. Okay, about to do that. Yes, a lot of people have tried this, so that's really good. So you may have had the experience where you make your free trial lesson and nobody takes it, nobody cares, or they take it and they don't show up. So we're going to talk about what happens here. So I'm going to tell you what not to do. Don't offer a lesson that says free trial. Don't say, come take a free trial lesson with me. But why not? Why wouldn't you do that? Oh, the sound is 1,000 times better. Okay. Audio is much better. Yay, I love good audio. Okay. So why shouldn't you do that? Because a free trial lesson is unexciting, unoriginal, and unattractive. What's wrong with it? There's no gotta have it. When you just offer someone a free trial lesson, it sounds kind of boring. There's nothing in that makes a student say, ooh, I really should have that trial lesson. There's nothing there that makes it say, ooh, that must be something that I want. It's also not special, because think of it this way. If there are 1,000 online teachers and everyone is offering a free trial lesson, what makes your free trial lesson different or even possibly better than another's? Okay? There's nothing that makes it different from anyone else's. So we don't want to do a free trial lesson. If you take something, one thing to take from this webinar, don't say free trial lesson. That's not what's going to help you. What should you do instead? You want to give them something tangible. You want to give them a result. There's no result from a free trial lesson. If someone comes to a free trial lesson, the only result is they get a lesson. So you want to promise them something. Give them something. And you have to think a little bit about this. I'm going to show you an example. And you've got to make something that they want. So a free trial lesson, when you think about that, for me, that doesn't get me excited. I don't get excited about the thought of a free trial lesson. I want something that I see it and I say, ooh, I really want that. Like, think about when you see like a cool thing in a store. You're like, oh, I really want to buy that thing. So look, this is what I did. I made a presentation called Your Personal English Action Plan. This is what I did during my trial lesson. I didn't offer a free trial lesson. I offered a free personal English action plan. And here's what I wrote about it. So the way that I described it, I said I'm going to offer you a personalized English action plan where we'll work together to make a step-by-step plan to take your English to the next level in the next 6 months. And what that does is, one, it promises a result. Okay, so it's not just a trial lesson where I don't know what's going to happen at the end. I know that if I come to this, I'm going to get a clear outcome. I'm going to have a plan. Okay, so that's one thing. And it sounds like something that I want. It's like, oh, I really want this. I want to take my English to the next level in the next 6 months. So by doing this, by offering a free trial lesson, or by offering a personalized English action plan, we're offering people something that they can actually say, oh, I'm going to really get something out of this session. Okay, a taster session, because it makes me think about food. That's pretty funny, Kate. I've never heard anyone make that comparison before. Okay, so if we compare this or a free trial lesson, which one sounds more exciting, right? A personalized English action plan where we make a step-by-step plan, or a free trial lesson where everyone offers. Okay, so the first thing to think about if you're trying to get students and you want students to make that first contact, offer them something exciting. Okay. Hey Tina, you're late. Don't worry, it's cool. You can catch the rest on the recording, but definitely get the most out of it now. So now we're going to jump into how to make sure students show up. Okay. Has anyone had the problem where students book a trial lesson and they don't come? Say yes in the chat if that's happened to you. Has anyone had a student not show up? Danella says hard hated. Okay. Yes. So that has happened. Julianne says yes. Okay, good. Yes, Elizabeth. So this is a super common problem among online teachers. Hannah, Marcia, lots of yeses. Awesome. This is a super common problem. You offer this free trial lesson. The student, emails you. They say, I want to take it. And you're like, okay, good. And then they don't come. Well, why don't they come? What can we do to fix it? Well, the first reason they don't come is because, well, it's free. Okay? And if it's free means no investment, and we often equate that with no value. So if something is free, then it's going to be there forever. Like, okay, well, if the teacher is offering me a free trial lesson on Thursday night, but 5 minutes before the trial lesson, my friend calls and wants to go out to dinner, I'll just take this trial lesson on Friday because it's free, and free, means no value. So because it's free, that sometimes means a student will think that has no value. So what we want to do to fix that is you create investment. So if the student is invested in the trial lesson, then it's going to be something that they want to do. So the most common way that people talk about investment is they invest money. Because think about it. If someone pays for a trial lesson, well, they're going to come because it's something they've paid for. But if you charge people money for the trial lessons, then they might not take them. So we don't want to charge money for our trial lesson. So what can we do? We want to create investment, but we don't want to charge money. Is there another kind of investment that we can create? Yes, time. Time is a better investment than money. So how can we get them to invest in the trial lesson? Okay? What is the best way to get the student to invest their time? Because okay, here we go. The audio cut out again, but it's back. Can everyone hear me? No audio, Leticia. Yeah. Can you hear me now? I feel like the guy on the phone commercial. Yep. Okay, good. So what's the best way to get a student to invest their time? Give them a placement test. Okay. So you give them a placement test before your first lesson. Because if you give them a placement test, there's a few reasons this is good. It's extremely professional. Okay, so if a student contacts you and they say they book your thing, and they say, I would like to take your trial lesson, and you say, okay, fantastic, before we have our trial lesson, I'm going to send you this placement test. You look like somebody who has all of your stuff super organized. You're going to send them a message immediately that says, wow, this teacher knows what they're doing. This is not some amateur who doesn't know about online teaching. They know, they know what they're doing. If you send them a placement test, it also helps you prepare better lessons. Because if you have a placement test before you meet them, you can see what their strengths and weaknesses are. So you already have an idea for what you're going to, how you're going to help them, and it's going to make you a better teacher. The third thing, and this is the huge thing, it gets them involved before you even meet. If they take a placement test, and especially this is true if they don't get to see their results, it's like those little Facebook quizzes you see all the time, where like you take the quiz and then they make you like give them your email address before they show you the results. It works. People do it because they want to see the results of which Harry Potter character they are, or whichever silly little Facebook quiz we're talking about. So if you get a placement test that does not show them their results, they know, oh man, I took this test, I invested my time in this test, I really want to know how I did. Question 30 was really tough. I want to see the answer. That's what happens. That's what we do. So Tina says, off the class placement test rocks. It sounds like you know where I'm going. And that's what the off the class placement test does. I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. But it makes it so that the student takes the test, they invest their time, and they don't see their results. So they want to come to the trial lesson or whatever lesson you have that's not called a free trial to see what their results are. Okay, so that's a really awesome thing, okay? Definitely give them a placement test. There are a few placement tests that are available. There are no placement tests that do what the off-to-class placement test does. And I'm gonna talk more about that and do a little demo in a little while. So one, that's important. Okay, the technology to wow them during your trial lesson. Okay, so this is the point that I'm gonna do a little demo. Okay, so. Okay, no, okay, I'm looking in the chat, and I'm making sure that I wasn't having any problem. Looks like some other people are having difficulties. I just want to make sure it's not me. Okay, so let's talk about how do you wow them during your trial lesson. So I'm gonna switch what I'm sharing at this point. So I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna pop back. Hello again, does everyone see my face again? Hello? Yeah, okay, great, cool. So now I'm gonna share. Good. I'm going to share something else, okay? And if you are not familiar with Off to Class, this is going to be like a little bit of a demo, okay? And if you are, then I'm just going to show you the process that I go through with it. So let's go back to screen share, and I'm going to share my browser, okay? We're going to make that big, okay? Now we're staring into the abyss. Okay, so. Now I can't see the chat. so any questions I'll have to come back to again. Put your questions below the window to submit them for the Q&A, which we'll get to after. So we're going to take a little peek at the off the class placement test because we're going to show them how to impress somebody during. So you can go, this is the off the class teacher homepage, okay? So the first button you've got here is assign test. You click on this assign test. And you can click on an existing student or a prospective student. You click on prospective student, and you just enter their information. So it's really easy. Student nickname, something you're going to remember. So we're going to say, Steve Stevenson, and Steve's email address is steve@steve.com. And you give them a password. Okay, so you can give them whatever, like English 1 or whatever. Then if Steve wants his stuff to be in English, you can leave English. But if Steve is from another country, you can pick what language his instructions will be in. Okay, so that's really helpful. And then we have this last one that says send a copy of credentials to the student. So that means if you click yes, then that means that Steve will get an email from Off to Class with instructions on how to take his placement test. If you click no, then Off to Class isn't going to send Steve anything. And you will contact Steve and say, okay, Steve, here's how you take your placement test. So so then the student takes their placement test. And let's show you what it's like on the inside. Okay, let me refresh this. Okay, so let's click on a student I created for this, Tobias. Okay, so here we go. Here's Tobias. So this is Tobias's student page. So we'll start by making a little note about Tobias. Add a note about your student and it will be saved here. Okay, so I'm gonna add a new note and I'm gonna say, okay, Tobias from Germany, 52 years old, and he is an account manager. Okay, so I'm just going to make my little note about Tobias, and then I'm going to click save, and then it's saved. It's there. Okay, so now when I come to Tobias's screen, I've got his basic info there. So if we scroll down, I can see the placement test, show the results. So when I have my trial lesson with Tobias, I'm going to click on this show results, and it's going to load up Tobias's placement test results. So this is what you're going to be able to look at with the student during a trial lesson, like on a screen share. So at the top, I've got kind of these bars, the A1, A2, beginner, intermediate, advanced. The Officer Class Placement Test has 20 questions at each level. So I can see Tobias got 17 A1 questions right. He got 2 A1 questions wrong, and then 1 A1 question he indicated that he didn't know. And then we can do the same thing for the A2 questions. Okay, he gets 16 right and 4 wrong, and down we go. And you can see this is fairly typical. What will happen with a lot of students, the easier questions, they get their green bars are bigger. As they get more difficult, then the green bars get shorter. So not only do we see this overview of the results, we can then scroll down and we can see the ones that he missed. So when you show a student this, they are super impressed. You're like, hey, look, here's your A1 question. A horse is blank mammal. You wrote an mammal. The right answer is a mammal. And they're like, oh my gosh, wow, look at that. And that, it doesn't even stop there. Then you can look over to the right and we have recommended lesson. And so number A1, if I say Tobias, look what you wrote. You put an and the right answer is a. Tobias is probably going to say, oh yes, of course, I simply made a mistake. I know that. But let's say we get way down to conditionals. And I say, look at this one you got wrong. Which is a natural third conditional? And we look at the wrong answer, we look at the right answer. Tobias says, I do not know about continuous conditionals. Well, look over here. I've got a lesson to click on. So I click on this lesson. A new tab opens up. It's going to say, okay, what do you want to do? So I'm going to open this lesson. And now I've got everything I need to teach Tobias. So I've got the slides already loaded up. Okay, so we can go right through it step by step. I've got some teacher notes on the left here. If I don't want my student to see them, all I have to do is I click on this up here to expand, and it makes it full screen, and the student will not see the notes. And it will make the notes in a new window so that I can still see the notes, but he won't be able to see it. So if I'm just sharing, so I can actually do it. If I expand it, now look, the teacher notes went away. I can still see them, but you can't. Okay, so now I still have access to the notes. So there's a lot of really cool things we can do from this interface. And so this is what you're doing during your trial. You're showing the student this stuff. So you're showing them how to do this. And one thing you can do is you can do some editing. Okay, so we can circle some things. We can make some right and wrong. Let's go back to this slide again. Okay, so look. Change the simple tense into continuous. If it hadn't snowed, I wouldn't have gone skiing last weekend. Okay, so when we look at these things, then we can actually do some editing. Okay, so I actually am going to pick a different one. Let's find some blanks. Make conditionals. Let's see if we can find one with some blanks. Or this. So look, let's say you weren't listening, so you didn't understand the instructions. Look, I can click on this. And I can actually start editing. We could say, but if you had been listening, okay? So what I'm doing now is I'm actually editing the text. And so look, it's right there. You can see which text has been edited. If I want to modify a question, okay, I'm back. Let's say a minute, you can hear me again. I don't know why it's doing that, but the wind was blowing all day yesterday. So what if we wanted to say the wind was blowing let's change all last week. We can actually edit that. Okay? We can edit those things. We also, if I right click on a word, I can click on the audio so I can get it to be pronounced. I can Google Translate it into a bunch of different languages. I can do an image search. This one is super cool. So if like, let's click on wind. I can do a Google image search. It'll immediately pop up a new tab. And now I've got Google image results for wind. And then disable editing, I can turn off, undo my text edit so I can turn off the things that I edited. So it's super versatile. And one of my favorite things, my absolute favorite things about this is to click on the canvas. So up here I have canvas. And now I have a whiteboard. So now I can write some text. Okay, I can write text. I can move it around. I don't know if some people like to draw during their lessons. I like to draw during my lesson. Okay, I make little stick figures and we do things and we give little word bubbles. Okay, so we make little dialogues. And this, I can just scroll down. Okay, I don't even have to delete anything, and I can make a new dialogue. Okay, with these two happy people here, and then I can go back up and the one is still there. Okay, so this stuff doesn't ever have to go away. If you want to clear something, you know, you can always undo, you can erase, you can add images. I can, yeah, there's my eraser, so I can cut something out. There's all kinds, add a YouTube video, add images. This stuff is so versatile. And when students see this, it really, they say, wow. They said, this teacher is using something that he knows, this teacher really knows what he's doing. So by using this, and not just, you know, everybody uses Google Drive, and Google Drive is fine, but something like this really shows the student that, wow, this person is special, and they know, okay? Okay, so I'm popping back in. I'm just making sure there's no immediate kind of questions in the chat. Can everyone, I just want to pop in. Can everyone still hear me? I still see people popping up. Yes, okay, great, good. Yeah, and I know I'm going fast, guys. I know that we're covering a lot of stuff because like I said, I want to make sure you get everything. Because I know I'm running through the tools and how to use the off the class stuff really quick. So don't worry if you feel like, oh my gosh, he's going too fast and I can't, I'm not even going to remember this. That's why we have the recording. Okay, so we have the recording in place so that when I'm doing this and showing you these features, you can go back again and look at it. So if I hit close canvas, then I'm back to my lesson. I can click on homework, and then I have homework about this specific, about the things that we were just doing in class, okay? So I can assign this lesson to my student and have him do it later. I can also do it in class with him if we need some more exercises. So look, we have pick the words. I can type here and we can pick the word, okay? And then I can type and it stays there, okay? So I can be talking with my student and say, okay, Tobias, you know, choose which word goes in the right blank, and then we can do it there. We can type in the gap fills here, or I can do it the more traditional way and actually assign him the homework, and then he can log in to off to class, and he'll do it there. Okay, so there's so many neat things. This really does show your student that you're a professional. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to my sharing again. Can the student type there? The student can type there. And the student can type there if they're doing it for homework. So once the student logs in, if you assign it for homework, yes, the student types there. If you choose to do it in class as like just more practice exercises, then you're the one that types there, okay? Can these be saved anywhere for either me or the student to access at a later time? Yes, Maria Teresa, that's the beauty of it, is that the student actually is able to sign up, and then they do it later from homework. So you log into off to class anytime, you can see what they've done, have they completed it yet? The student can do it anywhere. The student, I'm talking into the vortex. I might as well have myself on camera if I'm going to be talking. So and so the Canvas goes to the student after class. That's actually a good question. I'm gonna leave that to Chris because I'm not sure what happens with the Canvas after class if the student accesses that. So I see Chris in there popping in to answer some of those little questions, which is good. It's the answer key. It's the last slide of the lesson summary. Okay, perfect. So there's all these different ways that when you show a student this in a trial lesson, and that's how you're doing it. You're doing it quickly. You're like, look, I can do this for you, and I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you this. The student is like, dang, this teacher really has a lot going on. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to screen share. Switch to my other platform. Just hang on a second. stop sharing. There it is. So I'm going to screen share again. I'm going to go back to my presentation. Okay, we're going to make that big. There, great. Okay. So when I say the technology to wow them during a trial lesson, guys, this is what I'm talking about. And it really does make them say wow. All right. So the last kind of big point we're going to cover today, and we're going to do it in about 10 minutes, is how to turn them into paying students. Okay? So this is important because you could have the most impressive trial lesson in the world, but if you don't turn them into a paying student, then it's like then it's not a good use of your time. Okay, so we're going to talk about what happens in a trial lesson and how to make it so that the person who's in that trial lesson then actually becomes your student, because that's the goal. The goal of the trial lesson, you can actually make that bigger, is to get students. So I'm going to go through the 4 steps of a successful trial lesson. Okay, so this is the format that I use in a trial lesson to turn someone into a paying student. So 1, leading with listening, model before and after, show the mechanism, and close the sale. This is my 4-step framework. Okay? And right away, you might notice something sticks out. Did you just say close the sale? Okay. Why am I talking about close the sale when we're talking about trials? This is English lessons. It's not sales. Okay, well, let's talk about this. Because the psychological principles that influence someone to buy something have nothing to do with what it is they are buying. So it doesn't matter whether we're talking about English lessons or a new car or a dream vacation or a TV or a keychain, something small. When someone is going to spend money on something, these are the same principles that apply. Okay? And then some people don't like this. Some people will say, I don't want to feel like a salesperson. I simply want to describe my lessons. And if the student wants them, they will buy them. I encounter a lot of teachers who say this or who say something like this. They say, I don't know, I feel really uncomfortable at the end of a trial lesson because I feel like I'm just going to be like a sleazy salesperson, and I just want them, if they really want the lessons, then they know that they can buy them without me needing to really actively sell them. I have a lot of people that say something like this, and I'm gonna show you my reaction to this. And my reaction to this is a little bit extreme, and it's a little bit extreme on purpose. So if this is something that you feel, I'm gonna put my big red selfish stamp on that, okay? And so some people might see that and be like, oh my gosh, how could you say that? How can you say it's being selfish if all I'm doing is saying I don't want to be a salesperson? And here's the reason. Here's the reason I say this, is because if you kind of have this kind of attitude, this attitude that says, well, I want them to decide, and I don't want to, I don't want to really try to talk them into it or do anything like that, anything that's like being sales. So what you're doing is you are putting your own comfort above the needs of the student. Okay, so if you have this kind of attitude, there's a place where you are unwilling to be uncomfortable if it's something that's in the student's best interest. Because if you're not selling lessons because they're in the best interest of the student, then you shouldn't be selling lessons. I'm assuming that you're not some kind of sneaky salesperson. I'm assuming that you are an English teacher because you genuinely want to help people. So if you genuinely want to help people, then you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your students to step outside your comfort zone and be able to say, no, be able to advocate for yourself, to say, no, my products, my classes are worth it. So let's talk about what that looks like, okay? Selling something that you truly believe is in the best interests of the customer is not something to be ashamed of. Check. Okay, hello, check. Type a yes if you can hear me. Yes, okay, great. It's something to be proud of, guys. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to think of it as sales. Of course you don't want to be a sleazy salesperson. Of course you don't want to to be dishonest. Of course not. But we're not. But that's why when we're English teachers here, we're not selling used cars. So I am 0% worried about the people on this webinar. I'm 0% worried about someone in this webinar being some kind of dishonest person who's trying to cheat people out on their English lessons. What I'm worried about in this webinar is I'm worried about people who aren't properly valuing their lessons, who say, oh, I probably shouldn't sell them. No, you absolutely should. Okay, I really can't say that strongly enough, but I have to say that first. So now we can get into the trial lesson. Okay, so this is the model: leading with listening, model before and after, show the mechanism, close the sale. And I'm gonna have to go a wee bit fast because we're already 40 minutes into our webinar. Okay, so let's go ahead and start leading with listening. So when you start, the most important thing you can do is listen. You're listening for their main problem, and you're listening for their big goal. Okay, so their main problem, that's what you're looking for, is not what they say it is. So for example, someone might tell you in a trial lesson, native speakers don't understand my accent. Okay, well that sounds fine. You might think the problem is pronunciation, but the problem is not pronunciation. The problem is that they're feeling embarrassed and left out. That's what they're feeling. They're not coming to English lessons because it's some kind of academic exercise. They're coming because they're having a problem in their life that they need help with. So you want to get them to say it. You want to, thanks Kate, you want to get them to connect their real problem, not their problem they're saying, oh, native speakers don't understand me. You might want to say, well, why do you think that is? What does that feel like? Ask them questions and get them to really get to the deeper meaning of what's happening. Because you want them to be like, man, it's really frustrating when I'm trying to say something and people don't understand me. Now you're getting there. Okay, so people buy on emotion and justify with logic. We think that we're logical. We're not really logical. We buy things because we like them. Okay, so then you're going to do the same thing for their goal. You want to find what their big problem is. Then you want to find what their goal is. Why do you want to learn English? Well, I want to get a better job. Well, why do you want to get a better job? You want to get to the deeper thing, so that they can say, yeah, I want to live in a place where I want to move to a different country. I want to get a better job. I want to be able to spend more time with my family. That's what we're getting to. So then we're going to model the before and after. So we've listened carefully, and we understand their main problem, and we understand their big goal. Then we're going to go to step 2, model before and after, and it looks like this. So this is what you say to them. You say, let me see if I understand what you mean clearly. Right now you're in whatever context, and you're not able to blank, and it makes you feel blank, and you say how it makes them feel. You feel frustrated, whatever. And you repeat this as many times as you have for notes. And your goal is that when you're in, let's say, sales meetings, you're able to communicate confidently. And that will allow you to get a better job, move to a different country, and not feel embarrassed anymore. Okay? So then you ask, is that what you want? So what you're doing here is you're showing them, you're getting them to be in touch with the things that they don't like the things that they're trying to avoid, and you're showing them their dream. And you want to make them, you show them that you understand what the difficulties are that they're having, and that you understand the thing that they want. And when you say that, when you show the before and after, you say, I can help. Okay? And then you're going to show the mechanism. And when you show the mechanism, that basically means that's your turn to talk. The whole first half of the trial lesson, you are listening to them, you're understanding their problems. This is the point when you go to your personalized action plan, where you show them the off to class stuff, where you show them all that stuff that's going to really help them. Janet says classic sales, love it. Absolutely, it's classic sales. And it's classic sales applied to online teachers, because we're not salespeople. We are teachers. So how can we make this stuff relevant for us without putting us being at a disadvantage because we don't know the right way to turn someone from a curious prospect into a customer? Okay, so that's good, Janet. Good. They have a need and we're providing the solution. Exactly right. So showing the mechanism is when you show them off to class, is when you do your action plan, or whatever it is that you promised in your trial lesson, what we talked about. Instead of doing a trial lesson, you're promising something. Okay. So finally, we're going to go to step 4, close the sale. Okay. And when you go to close the sale, done right, close the sale doesn't even exist. Okay. So if you listen properly in the beginning, if you then show them that you understand their problem and their goal, And then you show them how you're going to help them. That's what the step 3 is, the mechanism. If you do all of that, this step doesn't exist. If you do all that, your student says, okay, let's do it. How do I buy? After steps 1, 2, and 3. That's how you know you've done it perfectly. Because if you do steps 1, 2, and 3 perfectly, you don't even have to, you can avoid that part that people get uncomfortable with. You can avoid that part that people say, so do you want to buy my lessons? You don't have to deal with any of that. When you do the first 3 right, at the end of step 3, they're like, okay, yep, sounds good. Where do we schedule? So you ask if the student has questions. So if they don't do that, we're going to go through what to do. You ask if they have questions. Do you have any questions about my lessons? You tell them you'd like to talk about price. So you're letting them know, I'm going to talk about price now. And then you tell them your price, that you don't apologize. You don't say, I know it's expensive. You just tell them what your price is. And then you ask if it's possible, okay? You say, is this possible? And they're going to say 2 things. They're going to say yes or no. If they say no, that's it. I don't want you to push anybody. That's where I definitely draw the line. You say, this is the price of my lessons. Is this possible? And if someone's like, Chris, it's a little bit too expensive for you right now. I don't say one thing after that. I do not say, okay, but, I don't give them any buts. As soon as they tell me it's too expensive, I say, okay, that's cool. And then we talk about something else. And we say no big deal, and we're still friends. You change it to keep it positive. But when they say yes, is this possible? And they say yes, you ask them if they'd like to schedule their first lesson. Okay, and then they say yes, and then you do it, and then you close it, and then it's all done. Okay, so guys, this is everything. I showed you everything. I went fast, but it's all of it. I didn't hide anything from you. So we covered a lot, but I hope you get something. This is what I want you to really get. I found a formula. We're not done with the webinar yet. Don't go away. I have found a formula for how to be successful. This is something that you can do. Okay, so you might say, all right, so I'm good on the trust. I'm good on how to make a student trust me, but what do I teach? You can do it the hard way. You can spend a lot of time creating lesson plans, searching the internet, devoting your energy to planning instead of getting students. Or you can use Off to Class, okay, and have all your lesson plans finished. Okay, so Off to Class, it's a one-stop shop for your curriculum. We have business English, we have IELTS, conversation lessons, grammar, reading, quiz, okay? Okay, but don't just take my word for it, okay? Here's what to do now. I'm gonna give you a button where you can, I'm gonna turn myself back on. Hello, see my face? Yes. Okay, look. So do you see a button? Is there a button down there? 2 buttons, do you see them? No, yes, no, not yet. Oh, hold on. Now you see buttons. Yeah, okay. Okay, guys, so here's what we have. Here's the 2 buttons. The first button starts a free trial of Off to Class. Like I said, I'm not here to sell you anything, okay? So if you start your free trial, you can log in, you can check everything out, you can look at all the stuff I showed. So do me a favor. Would you click on, I want to make sure these buttons work because I had problems with them before. What happens when you click the first button? Does it take you to Off to Class? So just click on it and make sure that the right link loads. Yes, okay, good. So that's button 1. Button 2 is actually, Off to Class is actually giving away a subscription, okay? And they're giving it one away. So they're going to do a drawing, and the drawing is going to be in 4 more days. Okay. So click on button 2. What happens? It should take you to a page where you can enter the drawing. Is that what happens when you click on the second one? Chris says yes. Okay, great. So look, number 1, you sign up for a trial. You don't pay anything. Okay. You can explore all the stuff that I talked about during in the webinar. And then number 2, you sign up. And the more times you share your link, the more other people that sign up using your link, you then get more entries. So the more you share it, the more likely you are to win. Okay. So there's no money that's going to be happening today. This is just a chance to help you expand what you're able to do for online teaching. Okay. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to make myself big. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Great. So 50 minutes into our webinar. We're gonna do some Q. Hello. Okay, it's time for Q&A. Before we do the Q&A, I am going to thank you for everyone. So before we get into the Q&A, I promised you at the beginning of the webinar that I was going to give you the trial lesson cheat sheet, which has all of that information that we covered as far as the trial lesson, all in one place. Okay, the notes are kind of already there. So I'm going to give that. I'm going to paste this in the chat. Okay, there it is in the chat. Boom. There you go. Once you click that, it'll open it in a new tab, and you can come back to that later. So, and before we get into Q&A, guys, if you have questions that we don't have time to address here, if there's anything, because we're going to do questions, we're going to stay probably for another 10 minutes. Janet says, what's the lowest English level? Beginner. Okay, they've got stuff at all levels, so it's great. If you have questions, contact me. Okay, so you can any of the emails that you got about the webinar. Okay, you can reply to those. Those come to me. Okay, so I'm Chris at betterbusinessenglish.co. Okay, but you can reply to those emails. You've already got mine. So let's poke into some Q&A. Is there a test for kids? Ooh, no, not yet. I don't believe. And Chris can kind of back me up on some of these. So starting with basic phonics. So there's not stuff that's made specifically for kids, but because it's stuff that starts at low beginner, it's really adaptable. So generally adolescents and above. Okay, so there you go. And you can see this, the stuff on Off to Class has the cartoons. You know, that stuff is kind of like pretty interesting and fun. Okay, so 13-year-olds and up, basically. Okay, good. So I'm going to click Start Answering, and then I'm going to click End Answer. Okay, so that one we've already done, so I'm going to delete that. Yes. Does the test change according to students' answers? So Chris has started answering that, but that's an important one. So if the student answers I don't know 7 times in a row, then it ends. Okay, but no, it doesn't. The questions don't automatically change. What it does is it starts at the low level of questions, and then the questions get more and more difficult. And if the student is just like I don't know, then it ends, so that they don't have to do that. No, it's for everything. Okay. Okay. So just I'm monitoring the chat. Can I use this with my students, and is it safe for both of us? I'm not sure what you mean, Julian, but I'm pretty sure the answer is yes to that question. You can share with your students. Yes. Yeah, Chris says, can you explain what you mean by safe? Yeah, I don't understand exactly that either. Okay, so I've already answered that, and I'm finished with that. Maria Teresa says, italki. When you joined italki, I'm going to start answering. Did you join as a professional or community teacher? Do you find students consider these two types of profiles differently? So my experience with that, personal experience, Maria, is that I'm a professional teacher, and that I don't know what the experience is like for a community tutor because I have not done that. So I would say probably students do consider them differently. However, if you get started as a community tutor, I definitely recommend it. Don't let that stop you. Okay, so don't let it stop you. You can take a certification class online and then go from community tutor to professional teacher later, but get started as a community tutor. Definitely recommend that. Okay, I'm gonna pop in the chat. Okay, Chris is answering some specific questions about Off to Class, which is great. Safe means, for example, no one else will contact them. Yes, it's 100% safe. Yes. So Danella has asked, I always use PayPal, but many students aren't able to use it. What is the easiest and cheapest way to receive money if not PayPal? I do not know that answer. I wish I could answer that one for you. If someone else has an answer for Danella, pop it in the chat. I wish I could answer that question for you. So I'm going to remove that one. Greetings from Rand. Has the webinar started? Okay, it's over. Okay, good. So that's all the questions. Good. If anyone has any last minute questions, pop them in there. Okay. And if not, guys, I just want to tell you I've really enjoyed it. This has been. I hope that you got a lot of value out of it. Do you feel like you got? Did I teach you a lot of good stuff today? Okay, Janet says super valuable. Good. Because that's my goal, guys. My goal is not to do anything here except share a really cool tool that I use with my students Off to Class. And also make it easier for others to become online teachers, because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of people who are telling do it this way, do it that way. It can be confusing, it can be overwhelming. So my goal is to help make it easier. Okay, good. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. You know how to get in touch with me. You know how to sign up for Off to Class. You know how to register to get your free account. And everyone have a fantastic day, night, afternoon, morning, and wherever you are. Okay, all right, everybody. Bye-bye.